What is it about the world's most talented artists that capture our imagination? They pique our interest. They drive a desire to spend time in their atmosphere. Their influence can move the masses, shift our perspectives, help us transcend our paradigms. They give us a glimpse into what makes the great great in our own search for knowledge, fame, and fortune. When they reimagine their world, it inspires all of us to do the same. As a revolutionary in social entrepreneurship, you are in the business of making dreams a reality. Your philanthropic platform that offers a chance to win once-in-a-lifetime experiences has raised over $100 million to support the work of hundreds of charities. What inspired you to create Omaze?
So we were filmmakers before. Ryan and I, my co-founder, we'd gone to college together. We came down to LA to get in entertainment, and we were specifically focused on cause content, using storytelling to inspire action. So we did a bunch of different projects along those lines. We were the first directors on Live Earth, which was the biggest concert ever thrown on 7 continents in one night for climate change. We did a documentary series called Girl Rising about girls' education in the developing world. It was funded by Oprah, and Meryl Streep was the narrator. So we were doing that work, and we were realizing that we were creating a lot of awareness around our projects, but not necessarily a lot of impact. So Ryan and I decided to go back to business school, try to surround ourselves with people smarter than us. I went off to Wharton, and I had never even opened Excel before I got there. I was purely on the creative side. When we were in school, we went to this event that Magic Johnson was hosting for the Boys and Girls Club, where he was auctioning off the chance to play basketball with him and go to a Lakers game. But it was one of those things that was only available to the high net worth individuals sitting in the room, and we were in the room, but not high net worth individuals. You know, we were the guys who get invited last minute to fill the table. And we watched as the auction went up to $15,000, and we couldn't afford to participate, but Magic Johnson was our childhood hero. So when we were driving home that night, we said, you know, this is a shame. Like, Magic has fans around the world, not just in that room. If we made it available for all of them to donate $10 for the chance to win, you could raise so much more money, so much more awareness, open up a whole new donor base. And so that was where the idea came from.
At the time, you were $200,000 in debt. You were just finishing up business school, and you, of course, had no track record in building a successful company. How terrified were you to take such a giant leap of faith?
A week before, I'd been offered a job at McKinsey, and I said, thank you so much for your offer, but I'm not gonna take this job. And they're like, well, what are you gonna do? And I said, I don't know. I haven't figured it out. And they said, we've never heard that before. And I was like, I know, I'm not proud of it, but that's reality. So, you know, we were literally like kind of in that position where we'd burn the boats behind us. You know, when you have $200,000 in debt and you turn down another job, you are scared, but everything you want is on the other side of fear. At the same time, I knew so deeply in my heart that this was something that was the best expression of what we could put out in the world. And then we had to figure out the legal framework to make this happen. So we talked to every law professor in University of Pennsylvania. All of them told us this wouldn't work. We went to like 20 different lawyers in New York. Finally, one of them gave us a legal opinion saying like the structure that we were proposing would work. When all those people kept saying no to us, like we just persisted through it. If you feel like what you're doing is serving others, that's your fuel for persistence. I definitely had dark nights for sure, but I never doubted that I would continue to fight until there was nothing more to fight for.
Well, with any startup, the journey to success can sometimes be excruciating. What was your first experience that you offered with Omaze, and how did it go?
Our very first experience with Omaze was to be a guest judge on Cupcake Wars, and it did not go great. We raised like $748, I think. From a fundraising perspective, not a smashing success. We learned that we really had no idea what we were doing. The first, I would say, 70 did not work. And then with Bryan Cranston, we had had terrible performances up to that point. The most we'd raised was $20,000, and we were running out of cash. And so we had identified Bryan and Breaking Bad as our real opportunity to have a great case study.
I'm breaking the walls down, one by one. Nothing can stop me. That day is gonna come.
As we were about to kind of get this started with him, this other company did a campaign and it raised $180,000 For us, that might as well have been $1 billion. It just felt like impossible. So we got a call from Brian's people that he was gonna do it with this other company. And I said, no, he can't do that. He has to do it with us, we need this. They're like, I'm sorry, this is the decision. I said, well, where is he right now? Like, he's at a charity event. And Ryan and I drove over to that charity event. We put on suits so we could like sneak in. We went up to Brian and we said to him, hey, Brian, you don't know us, but we're from Omaze, and we were supposed to do a campaign together, but now you're gonna do this with this other company. And he said, it's nothing personal, guys, but this is just about what we can raise for charity. And I said, well, we're gonna raise you $200,000. He said, well, what's the most you've ever raised? And I said, $20,000. He said, well, how's that gonna happen? And I said, because we have no choice. We will put everything we have into making this amazing. Our entire hearts are gonna be in this thing. Like, just give us this chance. I promise you, we'll figure out a way. I said, all right, you guys can do it. And then it ended up raising $300,000.
You are now the go-to philanthropy partner for nearly every Hollywood celebrity. What campaigns and experiences have been the most impactful?
We've had a lot that we've been really proud of. Ones we did with Star Wars have raised over $10 million for UNICEF and Starlight Children's Foundation. Our work with Red and Bono has raised over $10 million to provide life-saving medication to people with HIV. Stuff we've done with Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert and John Oliver have raised over $10 million for Next for Autism. But to give you an example of how transformative these experiences can be for the winners, there's a young girl named Chloe Howard, and she was born with a club foot. This group of mean girls started picking on her, and then one day they pinned her down on a table during lunch in front of the entire school, and they pulled off her shoe and showed everyone her deformed foot. And obviously that was traumatizing for Chloe, and her dad, Dane, who's this amazing guy, was really concerned. She was locking herself in her room. He wasn't sure if she was gonna hurt herself. He's a huge U2 fan. And so he shared with her his songs, and she really latched onto this song called Invisible, which says, you can't see me, but I'm here. It's this very anthemic song. And she started listening to it on loop every day on the way to school. And so right during that time, Dane also entered into an Omaze to meet Bono to benefit Red, and he won.
I get to take a guest, is that right?
Yes.
One guest?
One guest.
Backstage to meet Bono and the band. Can you believe it? Wow!
And so cut to 4 months later, Bono walks into the room, and then he says, what's your story, Chloe? And she said, I was assaulted, and your song Invisible helped me get through. It gave me the strength to not hurt myself and to stand up to the girls who did this to me. And he said, you know why you were able to do that? Because the arc of the universe bends towards justice and love. When you have right on your side, it's like this big fist, not to hurt people with, but to fight for what's right. There was just this moment, you could just see this girl transforming before your eyes. I mean, like this weight just lifted off of her, and you could see Bono's words just like filling her. And so she goes home, and she decides she's gonna take this amazing experience she had and she's gonna use it for good. So she starts this movement called Stand Beautiful to encourage girls to embrace their differences. And then she gets invited to do a TEDx talk. She publishes a book, and now she's like probably gonna have a TV show where she goes around the world helping people who've had these kind of bullying and deformities and spreading that love.
You have continued to challenge conventional thinking around what's possible in fundraising. With this incredible mission and all of your success, what is your advice to other entrepreneurs?
You know, my first advice to entrepreneurs would be a best friend to yourself. We can be really good at beating ourselves up, you know, but the difference between heaven and hell is how you treat yourself in the same circumstances. And so just recognize no one knows what they're doing at the beginning. When times get tough, the key thing is to get outside your own head and not make it about you. The hardest part about the toughest times for most people is their perception of what others might be thinking about them. We're incredibly adaptable, and we have incredible resilience naturally as human beings if we allow that part of it to go. Just keep stepping forward. Try to get a little bit better every single day. But don't try to get 2 days better. Just try to get a little bit better every single day.
Patience, persistence, the courage to know that everything we desire, it's all on the other side of fear. Whether it's our favorite artists or inspiring entrepreneurs, from the big stage to the bright lights, they give us a glimpse into just how to do it.
Just watch how I do it. Let me show you what I do. What I do. Just watch how I do it. Yeah, this is how I do it. How I do it. I got to show Watch me how I do it.